Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It's a beautiful, windy day today. Sun's out, it's supposed to be warm. Very high fire index for us. In fact, was a little busy last night. A buddy of mine lives a few miles away, called and said, I think I see fire in the woods across the valley from me. And across the valley, no one lives there. It's just a lot of woods that runs into national forest. And so I decided I'd go out and check on it. Sure enough, yeah, quite a bit of flames there in the woods. Ended up calling out the whole department, got a couple of engines on it, and eventually got it put out late last night or early this morning. But we think this one was intentionally. Most of the stuff that the department deals with that we assist on is, control burns that get out of control. But this one looked like it was an intentionally set one. So be careful, folks, especially you homesteaders. At some point, I'm going to make a homestead video on some fire safety stuff, because I know you're thinking, oh, that's all you're about now because you're helping out and part of this fire department. Well, I've learned a lot more than what I already knew about fires just from a homesteading perspective, and so now I can give the other side of the perspective and help, because that's one thing that you're going to have to think about. Right now, if you homestead, you're out in the country, the woods or whatever, fire can be extremely dangerous and damaging. And now you pretty much, most places, you have some kind of fire service, but that's not always guaranteed. If things fall apart or if there's some kind of breakdown somewhere, you may be on your own fighting that fire. And wouldn't that just be awful? You spend all these years and all this money and effort prepping for the thing to happen, only for it to burn up in a fire. So we'll talk about that later on. Speaking of that, I know you're Travis. You gotta say it, don't you? You're just gonna have to remind us again. If you're interested in helping us, we're still raising money to redo this fire station and to buy some equipment, supplies that we need. There is a link down in the description and the comments for a donation site and a Amazon gift registry. There are some items on Amazon, and I put it out there just because it's easy for a lot of people to figure out if they want to donate in that way. I am no expert on this, and I've had limited time over the last few days because we've been busy between here on the homestead and, well, other things, fire department stuff, emergency response team stuff. So we've been busy the last few days, but I have tried to take some time to look into this because I saw a few people that I follow online talking about it. Need to be watching the banks, I believe. If you remember, it was last year we saw several banks kind of fall apart and go under. And we saw kind of a little mini banking collapse. I mean, at least it was a collapse for some people. There are experts out there predicting that we're on the verge of another one, but a bigger one this time. And there is some indication of that. In the last few weeks, there have been several banks in the United States. Well, there were a couple big ones. I think Bank of America was one of them. But there's been several banks that their stock values have plummeted considerably. Sometimes within just a few hours, it'll drop 30-40%. Now, so far, none of these banks seem to be in direct jeopardy of collapsing, but there is some worry that, at least among certain circles, that banking and some banks may be on the verge. Now, this is not necessarily some new revelation. We've all known for a while that this is coming. My opinion, my belief is that they're going to work to, because they got to get in the global digital currency. They've got to consolidate currencies, all this kind of stuff, and they can't do it with all these thousands and thousands of independently owned and operated banks. So I think part of their big goal is to consolidate those. Now, there has been a lot of bank branch shutdowns, not the entire bank, but just their branches over the last year or so. And we're continuing to see that happen. We're seeing major banks even laying off thousands and thousands of employees, showing that banking is slowing down and the currency flow is less and the loans are less, and everything in the economic world just looks, well, it looks bad, right? It doesn't, it's none of it looks good, okay? Debt just keeps going up. We're spending like a bunch of drunken sailors, and honestly, that's not even correct, because it's worse than that. And no offense to any of you drunken sailors out there watching. My point is that among all the things that we're all monitoring at all times, right? You know, it's like we're constantly trying to keep our head on a swivel, figuring out what's the next, shoe to fall. This may be one of them. There may be some serious banking problems in the very, very near future, based on, expert opinion and just kind of looking at how things have been trending over the last couple of weeks. Now, being the opposite of an expert in this area, I'm not going to give you advice, but I'm going to just, throw some random thoughts out. For those of you that are poor and you don't keep a lot of money in the bank, you're probably already ahead of everyone, because you may not have as much to lose, and you don't keep a lot of money in the bank. But that still doesn't mean that you don't pay attention to it. You need to. I would have cash on hand as much as possible. That's going to be very, very different for everyone. So there's no point in even giving a specific number. Some people having $20 on hand is going to be a stretch, and others it may be several thousands of dollars in cash on hand. Point is have some cash on hand, as much as you can spare, that just sets to the side. You put it in your sock drawer, whatever it is, because even if we end up going through, which I believe we will, a currency collapse, there will still be a time period where the U.S. dollar, the currency U.S. dollar, is going to have value. Yes, it's very possible and likely that it will eventually completely lose its value, but there will be a time period, so keep some of that on hand. Look to other ways of securing your dollar. There is an online bank I've mentioned numerous times. I have no direct affiliation with this bank. I'm not directly connected to it. I don't make any money. I just have a small account there, and I don't really use it that often at all. It's just another way to secure some funds. It's called UPMA.org. You can look into it. It's not part of the Federal Reserve System. It's the only bank out there that's not part of the Federal Reserve System, and it's all gold-backed accounts. So that's something to think about. And you can get a debit card so that you can take your fiat dollars, you deposit it in this bank, it's gold back, and then you can turn around and use those gold backed money and buy gas and groceries and stuff. So that's one thing. There's gold 401ks. Where you can take your 401k and roll it into a gold-backed system. That's going to help secure it a little bit better. And then there's hard assets. If you have enough money and you can move it, I would put it into things like land, solid securities, not just fake stuff. Now crypto is obviously not solid, tangible securities, but it's been doing pretty good here lately. Bitcoin has certainly. I'm not necessarily opposed to putting your money in there, but I do think that at some point in time, that's going to be probably not go to zero, but be taken over. My gut feeling, and I'm no expert, I don't study Bitcoin at all, I'm not one of those gurus. I think the federal government owns a substantial amount of it, probably the Chinese government also, and maybe even federal government was the one that created it, who knows. And at some point they're going to pull the plug and use it to their advantage. But hey, that's just my opinion. And then there's your smaller tangible assets, the things that you can touch and hold, because if the possession is 9/10 of the law, right? Because at some point you go to the bank, they're not going to let you have it. They're going to keep that money. They're going to say, it's not yours, or they're not even going to be there. It's just going to be closed up. The ATMs don't work. Maybe it's a grid attack or an EMP, or whatever it is. Reverse bailout, where they just keep your money. They just say, sorry, you don't get your $1,000 in your checking account. It's ours now. we'll give it to you later. We're using it, and at some point in the future, we'll let you have it. Of course, we won't be there by then. So I would, look at the obvious things beyond the big ticket items like land and stuff. Just your supplies. What do you have on hand? I'll be honest with you. Not a lot of people talk about their personal finances. We don't keep a lot of money in the bank. We just don't. I don't think that that's some big OPSEC secret that is going to ruin me. We just don't keep a lot of money in the bank. We keep enough to function and pay bills. We invest our extras, what little it is, into other things. Land, gold, silver, brass, lead, food, equipment, tools, animals, actual resources, improvements to the homestead, that kind of stuff, and improvements to our greater community. That's the kind of stuff that we put our money into. To us, it's a better investment. Is the return the same? No, it's not the same, but sometimes it's better. And we don't. I don't worry so much if the banks collapse. I don't worry about it because I'm not going to lose a massive amount of money. But yet I know over the years I've taken that potentially extra money and I've put it into things that's going to be here. So that's just my opinion. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just kind of giving you some ideas to work with, right? Because, again, it looks like we could be, within days or weeks, be seeing some major banking issues again. And this time, most likely, I ate a handful of pecans before I made this video. And now I can feel a couple of them right there, little pieces. I am not ill. I have pecans in my throat. Excuse me. Now it's getting bad. This stuff could happen soon. Maybe not. But there are. I've noticed in the last several days, there's more and more people talking about it. Have pointed out indicators in the market that I don't follow, and only somewhat understand. That there are indicators out there that we could be seeing several banks go under. I saw the other day that some expert, whoever what an expert is, whatever that is, was saying that they do not believe that the Federal Reserve will lower rates this year and quite possibly could increase rates this year. So the V-shaped recovery or whatever is back, going back down again. And we already know this. We already know that inflation is going up continually. Not the official numbers, but real inflation on Main Street. The inflation that you pay at the store. Don't listen to what the White House tells you when they tell you that inflation's almost back to normal. We all know that that's a complete lie. We just need to be bracing ourselves for this. Move money around if you need to. Don't keep as much money in the bank if you can. Just get yourself ready because we don't know. And then you could also keep an eye on like maybe your bank. If you're part of a big bank, regional bank or something like that, it's not 100% indicator, but you can keep an eye on the stock value of that bank. If it starts going down, if it's starting doing some wonky things, that could be it. You have to understand there's also potential for bank runs. There was just, a little over a year ago, I think it was, the FDIC was talking about, and there's video of this. They posted it on their official YouTube page where they had this meeting, and they talked about that, they were kind of planning, or this what-if planning of, on a weekend, banks just shut down, people try to go to get their money, and they try to do this run on money, but yet it doesn't happen because everything's shut down, because it's different than how it used to be. 99% of the people, they get their funds digitally, through ATMs and stuff like that. And so it just all shuts down, and that's basically begins the financial collapse. So, again, yes, illegal immigration, border, that huge issue, biggest issue of our time. Russia, Europe, China, Taiwan, Middle East. All of these things are real problems, and I'm not saying just not to pay attention to them. Of course you pay attention to them. But this is one that no one's been talking about in the last several weeks or months. So you should probably pay attention to that, especially if you're someone that, has any kind of decent funds in the bank, or you're more heavily dependent upon the bank. because it's very possible you may not have access to that. So be keeping your eyes on this and getting your houses in order, folks. You need to be preparing mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.